Welcome to a brand new podcast called The Wedding Workflow. This podcast is for the wedding professional, engaged couples, or anyone involved in the wedding world. We will be tearing into everything from picking a venue, what to look for in a photographer, to how to handle the crazy situations that happen when planning a wedding. We hope you get something valuable from our show and from our guests, and would like to invite you to join us every Wednesday here at The Wedding Workflow. All right, welcome to the second episode of the Wedding Workflow podcast. We have a guest this week, Jude Anderson from LovelyInk Creative. Say hi.
Hi there.
Thanks for joining us. And,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited to have a guest. This is the second episode, like I said.
Deuce.
Oh yeah, it is.
All right, so let's kick this off. Let's hear a little bit about Jude. Can you kind of tell us about your story with photography? Jude is a photographer, by the way. So tell us kind of like your story about how you got into photography and how long you've been doing it,
Sure.
etc.
Okay. In 2013, I had a friend of mine. She and I have been good friends since high school. She asked me if I would assist her at a couple weddings. Her degree was from CCAD, so she was super creative, and she said, hey, I think it'd be fun to spend a day together. Do you want to assist me and make some money? And I was like, sure, sounds great. And I went with her, and that was really fun, and I loved the wedding vibe. I loved everything that we did there. The couple was super fun and happy, and the wedding party was a blast. So I was like, oh, I could get used to this. So that year she asked me to assist her at a couple other weddings. By the end of that season, she had handed me a camera and said, okay, it's all set up for you. Just point and click at things during the reception and have fun. And I ended up getting some good shots for her. And she would always, send them to me and be like, hey, this one's really fun. You captured, the bride and groom, that you got the perfect expression, that kind of thing. So I continued that for 2 years. And after that point, she was like, hey, you should kind of be doing your own stuff. And I was like, oh, no, I just like assisting you. I like second shooting for you, and which had, progressed pretty naturally. And she was like, how about I don't hire you again until you shoot your own wedding? And I was like, okay, all right. So that
Pressure's
year,
on.
yeah, exactly. She wasn't going to let me just be a second shooter or whatever. She believed in me when I didn't necessarily think that I was going to do anything big with that. So she was like, here, you're doing this. I booked 2 weddings that year. And then one that was like a reception, not a full wedding, but it was definitely a good starter. I had a great time. And from there it just kind of grew. So I had 2 women, Ashley and Lisa, who really believed in me, and they used me as second shooters while I got used to it, while I learned how a wedding day runs, top to bottom. They showed me what they do, how they edit, all of that stuff. So it's really thanks to them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what did you do before that experience?
My degree is in advertising and marketing. So at the time I was working at an advertising agency, and while I built my business, I worked at, various marketing agencies. My last one was as a director of marketing at a nonprofit. And I basically, it was to the point where all I was thinking about was photos, and, every second of my day that wasn't completely busy, I was planning photo stuff, I was writing blogs, I was editing photos, whatever, to the point that it was like, okay, so that's really what I need to be doing. I like marketing, and it's helpful that I have that background. It helps me market myself. But I finally was like, okay, I need to either go all for it, or I need to give something up, because I was working like 70 hours a week between the 2 of them. Yeah. So I made the jump in 2018, and it was the scariest thing of my life, but it worked pretty well, and I was really excited. This year I was able to fully replace a director level position with my, photography salary. So,
awesome.
Yeah, that was a big one for me, because I was worried that was not, I'm like, okay, I have to believe that that's going to happen at, at some point, but.
That's great.
Yeah.
I tell people a lot of times, like, I didn't quit my job until I was confident that my, photo and video career could compensate. And I feel you when you say you were working 70 hours a week, because I think the year before I went full-time, I was working a full-time job.
Yep.
And then I was also shooting every night.
Yes.
and editing every night.
Yes.
And even at work sometimes. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly me.
They knew I worked. Yeah. Luckily, I worked in a place where it was like pretty laid back, and if we were slow, it was just like, well, you have to be here.
Yes.
So I would edit, and I'd bring my Mac. I'd have an iMac.
Not like a laptop.
Not a laptop. It was a 26 inch, I think.
Love it.
That's awesome.
That I would carry in.
That's like I've seen people at like Starbucks. They bring in like a whole Mac setup, and I'm like, you really just brought your whole home, like home office.
I worked at a car wash, so in between cars as they came, I'd be on my phone replying to clients, all this stuff, like marketing. I worked landscaping. I'd be in the back of the truck, and I would just be in between each yard we mowed. I'd be out there just grinding.
It really is. There's some point where you need to like take a chance on yourself. Yeah. And it got to that point, and little kids and a partner that you're trying to like balance your entire life, and you're working a ton, and it's okay, something has to give. And it was like, okay, this is the scariest thing to give up. That's the health insurance, that's the salary, whatever, but it was time. And I ran the numbers 45, 87 times, and it was time. So I pulled the plug, and I'm super happy that I did, but it was scary. It was absolutely scary.
That's kind of the boat I'm in right now. It's like that, I'm trying to kind of phase out my regular job, and so I'm still about to make that jump.
Yeah.
It is nerve-wracking because you're like, well, now I got a house, I'm like, whew, all right.
None of those bills go away. Don't you know I'm a starving artist right now?
That's funny. It's cool that you had that marketing background, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's so huge for your business.
Absolutely.
Marketing.
Well, it helps because I can design all my own stuff. I built my own website, all that kind of stuff. So it saved me a lot of money, truthfully. And that's a big expense for a lot of people who don't understand marketing. That's something that you put a lot of money out for. So being able to do that myself probably helped me a considerable bit.
Definitely. I don't think most people realize how much. I think that's why a lot of people fail at running their own business, honestly, because there's a lot of people who are just as talented, if not more talented than I am, that are bad at networking and bad at marketing, and they fail because they don't know how to do the personal side of it. Where
you have to be able to sell.
You have to be able to find someone. If you're not that kind of person, you have to be able to find someone that can do it and work that into your budget.
You can have the best service in the world, but you can't sell it or have the system around it.
Kind of like last week when we were talking about like self-awareness, like you have to have that self-awareness to know like what are my
that's not
points?
My forte.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
What am I good at? What am I not? And then how can I compensate for that?
So. Yeah. I don't think people always realize the emotions behind running a business.
Oh.
The emotions are unreal.
You got it so easy. You work from home.
Like you even work. Like,
I cry a dozen times a week at a minimum, and that's like a good week.
Like on your way to a meeting, you're like, oh, I gotta pull it together.
It is hard though. You don't think you have to be your own everything. You are your own accountant until tax season when you need a real accountant, and your own lawyer to figure out like, okay, do I need to push back on this? Should I? Anything like that. Your own social media manager and PR person.
Even your own motivator. Like with a day job, there's like a specific time you show up, and then you leave. And like there's some days where you're just like, I know I have so many things to do, but I just this bed is really comfortable.
Right.
I could just watch TV all day, and no one's gonna.
Well, and there's no boss to give you a pat on the back.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
If we are in a traditional 9-to-5 or really any job outside of working for yourself, there is somebody above you going, yes, you did the right thing, thank you, here's your paycheck.
Right.
Whereas you might think that if you're running a small business, you might think you're doing all of the right things, but if you're not booking anyone, you're still not earning a paycheck. So even if you're busting your butt, you're not doing... You're not getting that feeling of like, good job, there you go.
And all your weaknesses get exposed, I feel.
Oh my gosh,
every weakness you have is exposed, and if you don't constantly recreate yourself, you're going to fall behind and lose.
Absolutely.
So like, you can never be comfortable. Like, it's just never a comfortable feeling.
Oh no, there's no comfort zone when you're a small business owner.
I have a friend who works, I'm not going to name him or the company, but he works for a huge company, and he asked me one day, he was like, I don't understand how you're self-employed. Like, how do you don't know where your money's coming from? Like, what if it runs out tomorrow? Like, all these different things. And I was like, the only difference between your job and my job is that I'm the one worried about where the money's coming from. I said, you could find out tomorrow you're laid off.
Absolutely.
I guarantee someone at your job is worried about where the money's coming from. Even though it's super consistent and you get a paycheck every week, it could end tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you're not the one worried about it. I said that's the only difference.
Yeah.
I've been laid off from a marketing company before. They lost too many clients. They couldn't afford all of us. That's exactly what happened. So now I never have to worry about that feeling of, oh, I was the person to go. If my business fails, it's 100% me.
Right.
So I have no one to be mad at. I have no, like that's
I think it's a little naive to think that like if you have a secure job, that it's
actually secure.
It's secure. Like it's really not. Like the stock market could crash. Like all these different things could happen. It's like would be in the same boat.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
You'd still lose health insurance. You'd still lose your salary. And was that Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryan's all day. Say he's a prime candidate for self-employed kings right there.
Is he?
Yeah.
He's the most humble guy, but
shout out Ryan.
Such a he's made it big.
Well, talking about like advertising and marketing, I wanted to kind of go into. I wanted to ask this question of every guest. So you've done everything from weddings to engagements, family stuff, working with kids. What is your brand position been, and like where is it going in the future? Like it's coming in 2020.
Okay, that's a good question. I want to be a person who grows with you. So I want to meet you as a friend, or when somebody says, oh, you guys just got engaged, you have to reach out to her. You'll love her. You guys will vibe. You'll get along and have a good time. I want to meet you for coffee and talk for too many hours. I say a consultation is an hour, and then 2.5 hours later I come home and Nick says, at your consultation, huh? And I'm like, well, they were really nice. We had a really good time.
Yeah.
But after that, I want to shoot your engagement session. I want to shoot your wedding. And then I want you to call me when you guys are pregnant, or when you guys are buying your first house and you want photos in it, or whatever you're doing. You don't have to do any of the traditional things. Whatever your next step is, I want to be there. I want to cheer for you the whole time. I want to love on you on social media. I want to stay connected. So my biggest honor, actually it was this year, so it was really cool. My first wedding couple had a child. So I got to do their maternity photos and newborn photos, and that was such a cool feeling. So now I feel like we are bonded forever because I've got to be there for so many important parts of their life, and that's a situation that you don't always get. So
that's awesome.
The relationship is really amazing. Like the relationship's everything.
Yeah.
Because I always feel like too, like if you can become friends with that person before their wedding, like. Just because, like, if you're doing anything for a friend, there's a lot less that could ever go wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And they're going to be so much happier, and it's going to be enjoyable.
Absolutely. And you feel comfortable if something does happen, or if something is weird, or if it's raining, you know how to say, like, hey, it's totally okay. We're going to make it work. I know that the weather's not ideal, but you're going to be fine.
Right.
And then they have that confidence in you because they've spent time with you. They know you're genuine. They know that you will go through whatever you need to make sure that their day is perfect. So they have that trust.
Yeah. I think that's something that can really make stand out. That not everyone does that, so that's a really
So my brand proposition is be my friend.
Yeah. You're a friend for your life.
Yeah. Once you meet me, you're stuck with me.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. And then this also you wanted to this year you're kind of getting more into the boudoir photography.
Yes.
Maybe you can talk about a little bit about that because we're just 3 guys starting a wedding podcast.
Yeah.
So we don't know much about the boudoir world.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to know?
Oh.
Well, what's it like? I mean, what's going through your head like as you're doing this?
Should I give like a base level? What is boudoir?
Yeah.
Okay.
How did you get into it?
Okay. Yeah. All right. So boudoir is something that I've been familiar with for a couple years. It has recently kind of caught on. It's a great present, a gift for someone. My goal is for it to be a gift for yourself. Yes, that's great that your soon-to-be husband, your boyfriend, your partner, whoever gets fun and beautiful photos of you, but ultimately I want it to be an experience for you. So what we do is I'll give you my condensed workflow. Basically, You come in, I have a makeup artist. She's fabulous. We enjoy working together, and she's like a really good hype girl. So she's in the studio the whole time you're there going, oh, girl, you look so good, and stuff like that. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, so you come in, we'll have a mimosa, whatever. We'll go through the outfits that you brought. And I really encourage, you know, boudoir typically is lingerie and like underwear, stuff like that. If you are comfortable in a sweater, then do a sweater and cute undies or something like that. You absolutely can be as modest or as revealing as you want. You can wear whatever you want, whatever you feel comfortable in. A lot of times if it's for a gift, I have women who will bring like sports jerseys or something like their husband's favorite team. All of it is fun. As far as what you feel like while you're there, for me, it's art. It is absolutely beautiful. The human body is a beautiful and amazing creation. So being just there and seeing a beautiful work of art and being able to pose a beautiful work of art and say like, okay, this is very flattering on you. Oh, you look beautiful. And then taking that shot and showing them the back of the camera. That is probably my favorite, that first time that they see the back of the camera and they go, oh my gosh, is that me? And I'm like, yes, that's you. I just took the photo. And they just can't believe that. And that is such a cool feeling because especially as women, I know I'm talking to a bunch of guys, but especially as a woman, we are given so many standards. We are supposed to be so many things on a daily basis. And it's really, really hard. It weighs a lot. So to get to go somewhere that you get to do whatever you want, you get to chill out, get pampered and told how beautiful you are for a couple hours, whatever, that's a very cool feeling itself. But then when you have that physical output of, oh my God, that's me, that is such a cool thing. And it feels really empowering. And like I've done 2 sessions before because I feel like I can't tell you that you need a session if I've never done one or, you know, because it is, the beginning of it is, you don't quite know what to expect, especially your first time. So it can be a little bit like, okay, but I'm just going to like take off most of my clothes now. And you're going to be like, take pictures. Okay. And then once you start to see those pictures, it just fits and it snaps. And you're like, okay, this is cool. This is really fun. I feel great about my body. And you see yourself in an entirely different light. Yeah. And that is hard for a lot of women. And I love the emails that I get when I send out the final gallery. I have a lot of women that are like, I had no idea that I looked this way, and I am so glad to know what other people see of me. And that's the exact same reaction that I had from mine. I had no idea what I looked like, and I've only ever heard other people's opinions of what I look like. Right. So then seeing photos of myself that someone else thoughtfully curated, they looked at all the photos and said, oh, this is a great photo of her. Oh, let me fix her hair that has a flyaway or whatever. And like, just put that little extra touch on me. That was the coolest thing to see. I'm like, oh, I look great, you know, and that is what I want from all of the ladies that come in.
That's a really beautiful thing.
Awesome.
That's going to be very rewarding.
It is fun to help someone see how beautiful they are because the beauty industry itself wants you to feel like you need to be more. Everything is, you need this foundation to look better. You need to have this service so that your hair is shinier. You need to, whatever, you know, tan, get fake nails, do all of these things. And did you remember your facial this month? And all of that.
I've thought about that a lot. I mean, because like I feel like we'll probably never know what that feeling is. Like, all those stereotypes of like what a woman has to look like, or the things that you know you feel like you have to do, and like the magazines and media and everything that say like what beautiful is, and like and all of that, and like and as guys like. We can have a freaking dad bod and that's it, you know?
I was going to say dad bod is now trending.
Yeah,
like
so now it's cool to have a dad bod.
Like Leo DiCaprio's got a dad bod.
Yeah, if Leo DiCaprio said it was fine, it's fine.
Yeah, right?
You can wear these kind of hats on the beach.
Yeah, it doesn't
matter. So that's cool. That's, what are your plans going forward? We actually saw I went and saw your studio space. You bought that, how long ago?
In August.
Okay, that's
so awesome. It's been, I would say it's been in the works for about a year before that, just kind of thinking, planning. Again, I'm a numbers person, so running the numbers to make sure that by opening a studio space, I can make it valuable, I can make it do something, grow something. And boudoir was something that I've had a passion for a long time, and that seemed like the very natural step. So by having a studio space of my own, I can book sessions whenever, which, you know, is obviously helpful to the client. A lot of photographers pay for either studio space or Airbnbs or something like that to have boudoir sessions. So that's like a, you know, a very easy, I have a client who wants a session in 2 weeks. Yes, absolutely. And sometimes it takes a lot to get up the confidence for something like that. So yes, I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm like, girl, let's get you scheduled. You know, like I want you to feel that confidence. I want you to walk in strong and leave feeling even better. So,
and you can really set the tone with your own studio space, and
absolutely.
And it looked really nice. Like
thank you.
Just going in, it looks really professional and everything. And you can kind of, you have a dedicated room for boudoir, and that you can kind of control the you know, arrangements and all that stuff.
Absolutely. And that's, I very thoughtfully picked each of those pieces to be something that I can move if I need to, something that I can expand on if I need to. And the nice part about the studio itself is that room is specifically for boudoir, but the front of the studio is all windows, but they all have film on them, so you can't see into the studio at all. They're opaque. So we can take any part of the session out into the middle. My makeup artist sits out there and, you know, hoots and hollers for you and gets you all jazzed up about yourself and all that kind of stuff. So we can move any part of the session out there. I have different backdrops and stuff out there. So it's completely secure. You can't, you know, there's 2 doors that are both locked the whole time we're in there. So you can wander around in underwear and not be like, oh, somebody's going to walk in on me, you know.
Through the window,
exactly.
I know, that's what I'd be freaking out about. Oh, shoot, someone's going to walk through this door.
That's funny. And then I saw that you started like a private Facebook group for, is that specifically for boudoir?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have my normal business page, you know, that I throw everything on, you know, weddings that I love, families that I get to see a couple times a year. So fun. But I felt like there was a spot that needed to be created for women only that just shows boudoir. So boudoir is a hard thing, and a lot of times the research has shown that women will start thinking about boudoir and not do a session for a year or 2, because it really does, you have to break down a lot of walls to get to that point where you're ready. So getting a woman there, I want to help them with that. I want them to see other women who have chosen to break those walls, who have chosen, I know Jude and I trust her, and this is the work that she puts out. So all of the women that are on there have signed consent saying, yes, I trust you. And it's actually, in my contract, the way it's written up, it says, I trust you to choose whatever photos are in good taste to share. And that itself, just that line, means so much to me. And you have an option in your contract to opt in or out of that. So the fact that the majority of my women choose to say, yes, use them however you want, I trust your discretion. That means the world to me, because we've already talked about trust. And you want your couples, you want your clients, whatever. So having women that have that much trust in me with photos that can potentially be revealing or used maliciously or what, you know, all of those terrible things that people have done, they've said, no, we trust you that you won't do that. So that's why it's a women's only group. I want it to, and it's a fun group. I want it to be more interactive, and like I've shared my own boudoir photos in there. I'm like, I'm not asking you to share if I'm not going to share mine, you know what I mean? So like the my most recent post, I did a portrait session of myself for my 30th birthday, and I was like, okay, if I'm asking you all to share photos, then I'm going to, you know, give up some of mine too. And it was so fun because everybody's commenting, yeah, girl, you go, oh, goddess, whatever. I'm like, okay, everybody, let's calm down a little bit. But that is exactly, okay, keep going, no, but that's exactly what I want that group to be. I want a woman to have walked into my studio, been like, okay, I'm excited, I'm kind of nervous, and I'll say, hey, it's okay, we'll take care of it, don't worry about a thing. She has a great time at her session. She leaves feeling like, wow, I feel empowered, I feel awesome, my husband's going to get a really fun present, whatever, you know, all of the things. That's usually the, like, oh, I'm going to do a session for my husband. I'm like, girl, do it for you.
Yeah.
Do it. This is your session. It doesn't have to be for anybody else. But then, you know, they see, I put them in the women-only group, and then all of the other ladies are like, yeah, girl, you look awesome, and stuff. And it really helps with your confidence.
Yeah. So, before the podcast, we were kind of talking about something that you've been tossing around and some new ideas that you've been wanting to implement into your business. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so this is kind of my announcement, if you will. I've been working on this idea called a booty party. So a lot of boudoir photographers shorten boudoir to booty, and it's kind of cute and fun. So I'm going to call them booty parties. So my goal with these would be you grab your best girlfriends, whatever, if it's a bachelorette party, if it's your birthday, whatever, or if everybody just really wants to do some photos and it's kind of fun. So you would take your best people, and everybody comes to the studio, gets their makeup done, gets all fun, and we have mimosas and food and all the good stuff. And the lady of honor, shall we call them, so it would be the bride or the birthday girl, whoever, she gets a full session, and then all of her friends get a mini session. And it's just a really fun day. I did one kind of on spec, and I had one of my friends who's a videographer there to take a video of it. So I'm working on editing, but I'm not as good on video editing as I am on photos editing. So it was a really fun day, and what I kind of got out of it was every woman that was there lifted each other up. We had a very wide range of comfort. So I reached out to one of my brides for this upcoming year, and she and I are friends, and I thought that she would be, you know, interested in doing it. And I said, hey, any chance you'd want to do this? Do you think your bridesmaids would go along? And she was like, yes, absolutely. This sounds so fun. It's a party. I'm like, yes, it's a party. And
it's a booty party.
It's a booty party. It's a booty party. So she and her bridesmaids came in. I had explained everything. One of them was kind of on the fence whether or not she wanted to do it. So I talked to her and I said, why don't you come in, bring maybe an outfit or bring a flannel or something that you feel more comfortable in. And I said, we'll do your makeup, all that stuff, get you excited. And if you like, you know, if you're having fun watching the other girls, if you start feeling more comfortable, then you can do one. If not, no pressure. You don't have to. You're just there for a girls' day. And she ended up loving it. And I got an email back when I sent her gallery, and it was just over the top. Like, I had no idea what I looked like. I feel so great in these. I'm so happy with how these came out. Thank you for getting me to that place of comfort. And it was like the coolest experience. So with the booty party, ultimately, like, I want a spot for you and your girlfriends to lift each other up. It's a fun day. We have, you know, obviously snacks and fun people and good music. I let you choose the music usually, unless you have bad taste. Then I have to take over. You can't blame me. So it really is, it's like 3 or 4 hours of a party, and everybody gets to get some photos, and yeah, you take home some photos, and it's fun.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
And so, what is I don't know. Another question on my,
can I steal that and call it a dad bod party?
Yes, you absolutely can. You're not allowed to do boudoir parties since I, came up with this, but you can do dad bod parties.
Dad bod. Oh, dad bod hangs.
You guys just walk around like shirtless.
Dad bod hangs.
We don't even take pictures. We just we order a pizza.
Oh.
I like that
sports
idea.
Ball, you know.
Yeah, that's super cool. I know, like, when my wife and I got married beforehand, like, it's hard to plan a bachelor party or a bachelorette party, and that's, that would be super cool.
Well, and for me, the best part of it is anyone who has been to a bachelorette party knows you typically like go to the hotel or meet at a house or whatever, and everybody gets ready and does their makeup and, hey, can I borrow your curling iron and blah blah blah. Yeah, you guys are all nodding your head like that's exactly what you've done at your bachelorette parties.
I don't really remember a lot of my bachelor party.
Classic.
I heard I was asleep by like 10 o'clock.
Oh.
We started at like 4 though.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just.
So,
anyways.
I feel that.
So what you do when you come here, if we start at 11 or something, noon, whatever, everybody comes, gets ready. Like I said, you leave with this crazy amount of confidence because, 1, you've seen yourself in a new light. 2, your friends have been there pushing you, helping you, cheering you on, which is a great feeling.
Helps you let your guard down a little bit.
So your hair is done, your nails done, whatever, and then you leave. and you feel wonderful. So that's like the perfect kickoff to a really fun night with your girlfriends. So go out to eat, go to a club, whatever you want to do, you know, then you're already done up for it and you're already feeling awesome for it. So that's kind of the perfect segue into the rest of the day.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's sweet. Guys and girls are so different. Because I agree. Like my wife sent me a picture.
Yeah.
Like she had like got all dolled up and stuff, and like she's like, check out this, like check me out, and I was like, dang, you know. But then like on my end, like the guys, like I literally like we went and stayed in an Airbnb that was also an arcade. It used to be an arcade, and they had like turned it into one big place. And I literally, we got there and I put sweatpants on.
I was gonna say that sounds like fun. I would enjoy that part, but I would also like have already done my hair and makeup for it as well. You know.
Yeah, we just like basically hung out for 3 days and.
Nice, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
You want to go into your question?
Is there anything else you want to talk about the beauty party or?
No, it's a really fun day. It's a really fun time that you get to have with your friends, and anybody who's on the fence doesn't necessarily have to do the boudoir part, but it is a really fun excuse for a girls' day, and you know.
You don't have to talk about how much it is, but how much is that?
I don't have a set price. It's going to be a per person price.
Oh, cool. That's a good idea.
And then my hope for that would be that you know, anything you do, usually a bachelor party, you like divvy up the cost of the bride, or you know. My sessions themselves are under $1,000, and my wall art and albums and everything are reasonably priced.
Cool.
So my hope is that you know, it's the same with the rest of my photography. I want it to be, obviously it is an investment. You are paying for quality photos, and you're paying for the time, the business legitimacy, and the experience of the whole thing. So, you know, it's not, I won't say that I'm the cheapest photographer, because I'm not. But what you are getting from that is professionalism, someone who knows how to run a business, someone who has taken time to invest in gear and education, which is huge. This year I'll be going to it's actually a boudoir camp.
Oh my
gosh. I'm stoked. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
That sounds quite interesting.
Carson.
Carson will be there.
Oh my.
Like you guys didn't DJ?
No.
But no, I think that what we were talking about, staying relevant. To stay relevant, you need to be continually pushing yourself, and not just, well, I have the gear that I need, I know how to use it, that's enough. No, you should be trying new gear, you should be going to workshops and learning more, you should be watching online tutorials if you can't make it to a workshop, you should be doing those things to further educate yourself or to take yourself into new avenues.
Right. Yeah, so gear questions.
Sure.
Nikon or Canon?
Nikon.
Nikon.
Forever.
Oh, wow. We got 3 Canons.
All of these cameras set up. I feel very unloved right now.
Yep.
I'm sorry, the sensors. It's I can turn a black photo into something beautiful.
All right.
It's good.
We don't need to argue.
It's good to find like a system that you like and stick with it.
Absolutely.
And invest in those lenses and and any modern camera today is an awesome camera.
Absolutely.
Except for Sony, they suck. I'm just kidding. They do incredible for. I would not do it for, if I was only doing photo. If I was doing video, I'd probably choose Sony.
Absolutely.
But I like being able to bounce.
Tyler's going to be the guy on the podcast that gets all the hate mail from last week it was Detroit.
Oh yeah, like I talked about how much I hated
Sony.
I hate Detroit. I don't even care about sports. It wasn't even like a sports thing. It was like just the city is trash.
In general.
Oh my goodness.
This is gonna be great.
That's good. Yeah, it's good. How about Flash? How do you feel about Flash?
I
in studio
actually
and outside
speaking of education, I invested in myself this past year, and one of the wedding photographers that I really admire, his name is Esteban Gill, and he's out of Connecticut. He does a very cinematic style, and his main focus is light. So 2 years ago I found a Facebook group that he runs that is about using Flash, and it's about a single source of light and how that can change the look of your photos. And so I started following him, kind of fangirling, you know, the whole thing. Like, every shot he takes is perfect. How do I do this? And then he started announcing workshops. So I went to a lighting workshop down in Cincinnati, got to meet him, work hands-on with him, and he's cool as, am I allowed to say hell?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. The podcasts are like the Wild West. Like, you can say whatever you want.
Really. I like that. So yeah, he's cool as hell. And the things that I learned, even in that short amount of time of the workshop, he is very accessible in the Facebook group. So if you go back and you're like, hey, I know we worked on this, but I have a question because I seem to still have a problem with XYZ. He answers it. He helps you through it.
That's cool.
That was very, very cool for me. And that gave me a lot of confidence in what I was doing, because if you talk to most photographers, they say like, oh, the reception is the worst part. Everything is dark by that time of the day. It's hard to figure out the light, whatever. When I was there, he showed very practically what light he uses and why he uses it. And that helped me decide exactly what I wanted in my kit. So when I left, I made some pretty big gear investments. And I love the gear that I have, and I understand how to use it, and I've been able to push myself with that gear and try, like, okay, I know he mentioned that at some point you could try XYZ, and I've tried it. And that makes me super excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
light is huge. That's what I feel like a big difference between like an Instagram photographer and a professional photographer is. Even if that's reflectors or you know, flashes, whatever you want to call it, it's huge.
Oh yeah.
So who are some of your other role models, or like even we could even talk about like books or podcasts that you listen to?
Sure.
That help.
Let's see. I really like Hillary Rushford. She's not a photographer. She does more of like the business side of things. But she does a lot of like brand building and storytelling, and I really like her outlook on how to run a personal business, because it is so personal. Every time I take a photo and I put it out into the world, that's a little piece of me. So I hope everybody else likes it, but like my client, I hope that it connects with them. And that I've learned a lot about that from her. I like Donald Miller. He does the what's it called? The Art of Storytelling? Is that what it is? I like him. I like his outlook. I don't listen to a ton of other photographers. I would say I follow a lot of photographers on Instagram and stuff whose work that I like, and I would say the biggest thing that is kind of weird, I don't follow a ton of people who have a similar style to me. I gravitate to other styles that I like. So I follow a ton of like light and airy photographers. I follow a ton of very cinematic photographers. So it's kind of funny when you look at my feed, it's wildly different depending on what day it is, really, you know.
I think that's good that it keeps you from copying, like keeps you from like subliminally copying other people's style. It helps, you know, you get the best of all the people that you follow.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
Honestly, good work is good work. It doesn't matter if it's the same style as me. You do not have to do the same style of work for me to recognize someone who's putting out beautiful stuff. So
how would you describe your style?
Ooh. That wasn't on my list of questions, man.
Yeah, sorry, I just thought of it. I was like,
So I definitely am not light and airy. I'm not dark and moody. I'm kind of an in-between. I wanted to, when I first started, the biggest thing that I heard was consistency. And I think that I took that too far when I started. And I had a long look at myself and my work, and I was like, everything is kind of feeling the same. It's kind of one note, whatever. So I would say in the past 2 years, I've given up a lot of that consistency in exchange for treating every single day like it was fresh and something special. And you know, if it's a overcast day, we are going to lean way into it being an overcast day, and you will get a moodier session. If it is a bright and beautiful day, I'm going to put you in so much sun, there's going to be sunspots all over those photos, you know. So it really, I think I've like rebalanced myself, instead of like you have to do it this way, you have to be consistent, you have to look exactly the same. I've especially backed off of my editing and made it more of what that day is. So I want it to feel, like life enlarged. I guess. Is
that
acceptable?
Life and love. Pass that on to a t-shirt.
Is that my new?
Quote that.
So, there you go.
Put that on that website. What? Speaking of brand, what? I've always wondered this. Where did the name the LovelyInk Creative come from, or is it just LovelyInk Creative?
LovelyInk Creative.
Okay.
So, funny enough, I just explained this to one of my other friends who's a photographer, and she said, "Oh, I thought it was because you had a lot of tattoos." And I was like, "Oh, that would be a really good reason."
Yeah.
Okay. So I might just adopt that and say it's because I have a lot of tattoos.
Yeah.
No, so LovelyInk started. I was, obviously in a creative field, being in advertising. I work with a ton of creatives, but my job there was as a project manager. So that's how my brain works. I'm a very type A personality. So I'm like the get it done girl, the, hey, did we finish this on time? Did you send that email kind of person. So to have a non-creative job in a creative agency kind of takes it out of you because everybody kind of views you as like the side who doesn't really know the creative stuff. So I needed some type of a good creative outlet for that. And I love hand lettering and drawing. I can't draw things for anything, but I can draw words pretty well. So I started just like doodling and writing phrases or names or whatever that may be. And I had a couple people ask me to like hand make cards and stuff like that. So I started an itty bitty Etsy shop and I called it LovelyInk Designs because they were lovely and made of ink.
There we go.
Ta-da! So yeah, when I started doing photos with Ashley and Lisa, they were like, well, what are you gonna name yourself? I'm like, I don't know. So I already had this little LovelyInk Designs and I was like, well, if I switch it to creative, then it kind of encompasses everything creative that I love. I still think that marketing is a huge part of creativity. I love doing photos. I'll doodle on the side when I feel like it, so that kind of encompassed everything that I love about just the world that I'm in.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, now I know.
And I have a lot of tattoos.
Yeah. How many tattoos do you have?
6.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I need a lot more, but
that's
my next one, I think
an addiction.
Yeah, well, and my son is 6 and he's in kindergarten and his handwriting is really cute and sometimes he writes his R's backwards right now. So I feel like right now is the time to get like his signature on my body, you know what I mean? Because then it's cute. I mean, after this, he's just gonna have whatever handwriting he has,
regular boy handwriting.
Yeah, exactly. Right now is like the super cute handwriting, so I feel like I need to get that on my body pretty quick.
That's cool.
That's sweet.
I saw that you, you've worked with different community or different local businesses, like Walkie Talkie, and that's kind of part of your brand is that you want to give back to like, the city of Canton and surrounding cities. So explain how that came to be.
Well, friends. That's I can't say enough. Every single opportunity that I have been given has been from a friend. And I say, the term friend, obviously, you can kind of use loosely, whether it be an acquaintance who you get along with or your bestie, so there are obviously varying degrees of friendship. But once you meet someone and make a connection with them and prove that you are capable or can be relied on or whatever, people start calling you. And that really is kind of how my business has grown. I did my return, I think 85% of my clients are returning. So that means I've done at least 2 sessions for them, which is a really fun number to have.
That's huge.
And the majority of my work, I don't do any advertising. Every once in a while, I'll give somebody a flyer to put up in their shop if they say, hey, do you have a flyer? That's pretty much it. But then again, that's a friend who offered to put it in their shop for me or whatever. But I don't run Facebook ads or anything like that. And that's very cool. All of my work is coming from word of mouth. So somebody either knows me personally and loves me or has seen my work from somebody else that I've worked with and said, choose her, hire her, or somebody I've had, I think I've booked 3 weddings from wedding goers who have said like, hey, I need to know the name of your photographer. One of my brides back last year, she came up to me at a wedding and she said, hey, we've been emailing back and forth. I just wanted to let you know, like, our wedding is next year. We've talked a little bit. You look like you're having so much fun. And I said, oh, I am having so much fun. And that was so cool to me. Like, I went over and I told my second right after that. And I was like, that might be the coolest part of my job is, like, people know that I'm having a good time and that I am there to celebrate with them and that I am there to, like, be a part of their story, not just capture it. Like, I want to love on you guys and make you feel like you're the most important people in the world, and I'm going to continue to do that. So I guess that goes back to like, I'm just going to be your friend.
Yeah. I love it when I see like photographers like dancing out on the dance floor.
Oh yeah.
Good time. Yeah. Like, man, it's cool because it's like, man, how can you expect everyone else to have a good time? Like, you gotta have a good time yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't just be serious all the time. And
that's what I really like about everything that you said so far. Like, you don't expect anybody to do anything that you haven't done yourself.
No, if I'm gonna put myself where I'm telling you to put yourself. That's absolutely that's really awesome. Money where my mouth is, I guess. For lack of a better phrase, but. Yeah, I wouldn't ask you to do something if I wasn't comfortable doing it anyway. And then I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to show you, all right, get on the dance floor. A lot of times I'll like grab a groomsman and be like, come on, you need to get this party started. And I'll get out on the dance floor with him. And then, once the appropriate number of people are on the dance floor, then I can like step back and take photos of it.
And as a DJ, like,
that helps.
Super appreciative.
Yeah, good. Okay.
It's like, oh, I got it. Oh, is there a height?
You're built in.
Yeah. So for just to leave something for the couples that are engaged or planning a wedding, or even like thinking about boudoir, like what's one piece of advice that you give them that you kind of help them out?
Ooh. Okay, this one might get a little bit of flack, but we've talked about it already, so I know I'm among friends here.
Yeah.
Do not settle for a photographer, videographer, whatever, who is not going to make your day a priority. Photography is expensive. It is an investment. It absolutely is, and it's hard to say yes, I'm worth this much, but know that professional photographers have taken a look at what they are worth, and it's a hard number sometimes to give out to people, but it's because we are worth it. It's because we are legitimate businesses. It's because we have taken the time to invest in gear, in education. We have the experience. We know how to run a wedding day top to bottom. There's no, oh, I didn't think that would happen. I have extra things in my kits for my brides when things go bad. I have a sewing kit, and I have sewn things for brides before, and you need somebody that is professional and knows exactly what to expect. So don't go with the budget. Obviously, your prices, and don't overspend by any means, but those are photos that you only get to take once. If you have a family session with somebody who's new or not quite up to speed, that's okay. If it doesn't turn out as well as you'd like, you get to do those photos over again, most likely. A wedding day, that's not a chance that I would be willing to take personally. If I got all my wedding photos back and they weren't what I was expecting or what I'd seen on photographer's gallery or whatever, I would be very disappointed. So do your research and don't give up quality for price.
That's awesome. And what advice would you give someone that's thinking about boudoir? Maybe they've been like for years, they're like, maybe I'll do that, but they are worried about pulling the trigger.
Girl, it's time. Do it. Rip off the Band-Aid. That's why I say I'm always happy to share my own sessions, because I can't tell you to do something if I'm not willing, and I can't say, oh yeah, let me use your photos to show everybody else that I do a good job and market, myself. Just trust me. No, I'm going to share my own as well, because I'm not going to ask you to show, yourself if I'm not willing to do that. Anybody who is considering it, if I could bottle up the feeling that you have when you leave my studio or a session in general, I would give that out like candy. It's like fairy dust. It feels so good. You leave with a confidence, you leave with a renewed sense of self, and you just understand yourself better. You really genuinely do.
And it'd probably help on the wedding day to feel that much more self-confident, like you
absolutely.
Going into it.
Yeah, you are an absolute queen, and just go for it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we appreciate you coming to the Wedding Workflow podcast. Feel free to take this time to plug.
Yeah, where can we
plug everything, your website,
you
Instagram.
Can, all of my things are very consistent, yay marketing background. So any which way you type in LovelyInk Creative, INK, like the actual physical, ink and a tattoo. Any which way you type in LovelyInk Creative, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and that's my website as well. So
awesome. And if they want to join the Boudoir Photography group, where would they find that?
If you type in LovelyInk Creative Boudoir into Facebook, it will bring up the group. It's a private group, but it's not a hidden group. So you're able to find it. You can also find it from my Facebook page. To add, you have to read the group rules, say you understand, and tell me why you want to be part of it. So I would love to hear some from the, wedding workflow.
Awesome. Alrighty. If you do join that group, plug the wedding workflow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let them know where you guys are coming from.
Woohoo!
So, do you guys have anything else to add? Anything?
No.
Want to say thank you for being a part of the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been fun.
First guest.
And it's a great thing, and it's a great thing to educate other people on of what boudoir is and why they should do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jude.
Yeah, this is episode 2. We got Jude Anderson from LovelyInk Creative. Next week we will have Emily Richards. She's a photographer that just made that jump to full time. So it should be a good time. Join us next week. From the Wedding Workflow Podcast, this has been Adam Robb,
Tyler Neading,
Carson Parmenter,
and Jude Anderson.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Wedding Workflow Podcast. Join us next Wednesday for another episode. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Feel free to send us a message with any questions or topics you'd like us to discuss on the podcast at theweddingworkflow@gmail.com. Also find us online. We are on Instagram, The Wedding Workflow, and we are on Twitter as Wed Workflow Pod, and you can also find us on Facebook at The Wedding Workflow. So thank you for joining us, and we will see you again next week.